Application. We're now across live to reporter Patricia Visagie, who is covering the case at the Pretoria High Court. Hey, Patricia, let's try this again. What's the latest there? What can we expect today?
Good morning, Blaine, and to our viewers. Of course, the future of the VBS Bank determined today by the Pretoria High Court. Should the bank be saved, or are we now going to hear arguments that will determine the end of this bank that has, sent shocking waves through the country? I think in the past months, as we have learned of the great bank heist, of course, linked to the scandal where a lot of money was looted from this bank. We're talking about more than 1.9 billion that was apparently stolen here. And you know the story that, of course, many politicians that are linked to this particular scandal, and just the whole controversy of how vulnerable people, elderly people who invested in this bank have lost so much money. So today we have lawyers here who will be arguing whether this bank that has been declared insolvent should be liquidated, and this would be the end. Now, Blaine, we've heard even President Cyril Ramaphosa, also giving his views on this particular matter, saying that if it was up to him, he believes the bank should be saved. It's a bank that comes a very long way in this history of South Africa. It is a bank that has empowered a lot of people. It's a bank where a lot of people in that particular area where they've invested so much money. So yes, those who are linked to the scandal should perhaps be held accountable. That was what the president said, but the bank itself should be saved. There is still a future, the president believes, for this bank. So we need to hear today, is that what the lawyers feel? Because we've heard, various people who are part of the curator team that, of course, conducted the forensic investigations into what happened at VBS. And theirs is very clear that there is no future for this bank. It cannot be saved. It should be liquidated. And that is what we will be hearing today. Can VBS be saved? Is there another alternative? Of course, we expected the Minister of Finance, Tito Mboweni, to be a respondent in this matter. It seems like he will not be responding. It would have been interesting to hear what the Minister would have said if he did. As we know previously, he, in a very short way, did also come up and say he thinks that VBS should be saved. And one can perhaps determine that this is the stance from government. We've heard the ANC also coming forth saying that they also believe that the bank should be safe. But what are the lawyers saying? And shortly, around 10 o'clock, we'll be hearing what exactly the lawyers are tabling and how this court case will be going. Now, Blaine, you would know that a case like this that deals with insolvency issues, it's not like your normal criminal case. So it's perhaps not going to be packed in court. The atmosphere is going to be different from the normal day-to-day court cases that we're used to covering. It might just be short because it's very straightforward. It's information that is already in the media. We know that the report was already tabled. It has been in Parliament. So it's not going to be, as expected, a long court case. But court cases are always unpredictable. We don't know how long it might take. Blaine?
So we're likely to hear the process from curatorship to a possible liquidation. Is it not going to be a bit of a technical argument here?
Perhaps technical, because at the end of the day, it's not that straightforward. Of course, they'll have to trace back, the whole incident that took place that led to the looting, who's implicated. And we know that, of course, high-profile people have been linked to this great bank heist, as it was termed in that forensic report. So, yes, there will be technical arguments, but perhaps different from what we know happens in your normal criminal cases that we, as I said, normally cover. So yes, it will be technical. There are various respondents. As we know right now, most of the respondents are actually in favor of the liquidation. They're saying that there's not much that can take place. The bank should be winded up, and this should be the end of VBS. So those are the technical aspects that will be coming forth, and of course the different reports that will be put before court as evidence to, of course, prove the case for the liquidators who will be asking the bank to wind up, asking the court to wind up rather.
Partners will be glued to this case. Shareholders will be glued to this case. Patricia Visagie live for us in Pretoria. We thank you very much indeed for your reporting. I just want to remind you about our poll of the day. We ask you, the Pretoria High Court will hear this application for the final winding up of VBS, as you heard from Patricia. We want to know from you, do you think this bank should be saved? Currently, 59% saying yes, it should be saved, and 41% saying